Pam Grier, the unstoppable queen of blaxploitation cinema, wasn't just fierce on screen. Off-screen, her love life read like a who's who of Hollywood's most compelling men. In the 1970s, when her stardom soared with films like Coffee and Foxy Brown, Grier caught the eye of comedian Freddie Prinze Sr., a rising star whose charisma matched her own. Their connection was passionate and soulful, but tragically cut short by Freddie's untimely death in 1977. Around the same era, she began a tempestuous relationship with Richard Pryor, the comic genius whose brilliance was often overshadowed by his personal demons. Their love was undeniable, fiery, intoxicating, but riddled with emotional pain and substance abuse. In her candid memoir, Foxy: My Life in Three Acts, Pam detailed the ups and downs of loving a man so brilliant, yet so broken. Another surprising chapter was written with NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who asked her to convert to Islam and become his wife. Pam, known for her independence and spiritual beliefs, made the brave choice to walk away rather than lose herself in someone else's shadow. In the late 1990s, she found love again with music executive Kevin Evans, even getting engaged. But once again, love slipped away before reaching the altar. Each relationship added a new layer to her story, proving she loved deeply, yet never lost herself in the process. While the world knows the headlines, there are whispers beneath the surface, quiet rumors of secret flings and star-crossed chemistry that never made it to the tabloids. In the glamorous haze of the 1970s and 80s Hollywood, Pam Grier was often surrounded by powerful men, musicians, athletes, and fellow actors who admired her strength, beauty, and intellect. Whispers linked her to a few unexpected names. Quincy Jones was said to have been enamored by her elegance, and insiders claim they shared a brief, intense connection. There were murmurs of romantic tension between Pam and Miles Davis, the jazz legend known for his intensity, though no one could ever confirm whether it was friendship or something more. Even Robert De Niro has been loosely connected to her in gossip circles, with rumors of late-night conversations and private dinners. Yet, Pam never confirmed these whispers, guarding her personal life like a sacred script only she could edit. Friends say she had a quiet, soulful romance with a writer in the early 2000s, an unnamed figure she referred to only as a healer of hearts, but it never became public. What's clear is that Pam Grier has always been more than a muse or a partner. She's been her own woman first, a resilient, trailblazing force who refused to be defined by anyone else's spotlight. While her confirmed romances were stormy and cinematic, it's the stories we don't know, the ones behind closed doors, that make her legacy all the more intriguing. Pam Grier's journey through Hollywood wasn't just about the red carpets or box office success. It was also layered with quiet heartbreaks and silent decisions made in the dark. There are stories, rarely told, of men who fell for her not in tabloids, but in quiet corners of parties and after long conversations backstage. One such whispered tale involves an up-and-coming filmmaker from the 1980s who reportedly wrote Grier a series of love letters, never mailed. Sources close to her say she kept them locked away in a drawer, discovering them only years later when his career had taken off and he was no longer available. Then there's the story of a political activist from Oakland she dated briefly during her years filming in California, described as deeply intellectual, private, and supportive. But their love withered under the heat of long-distance schedules and her growing fame. Pam never shied away from romance, but she also never let it trap her. She reportedly turned down a proposal from a well-known R&B singer in the early 90s, someone whose music topped charts at the time, because she knew their worlds were too different. Her heart, it seems, had always been a battlefield between passion and principle. Friends say she believed in soul connections, but feared losing her identity, especially after the emotional drain of relationships like the one with Pryor. "When you love someone broken, you often break with them," she once confided to a friend. Yet, through it all, she kept her dignity, choosing solitude over settling. Today, Pam Grier remains an enigma, radiant, wise, and still holding pieces of her story close to her heart. While she's been linked to many, she has always been married to her independence. Even now, fans speculate if there's someone quietly in her life. Some believe she's in a private relationship with a longtime friend, someone completely outside of Hollywood. Others believe she chose the path of self-love, focusing on her ranch, her health, her animals, and her legacy. The truth, only Pam knows. In an industry that often chews up women and spits them out, she remained untamed. Her relationships weren't just love affairs, they were battlefields, healing grounds, and personal reckonings. She loved men who were giants, giants in fame, in ego, in charisma, and yet she never became anyone's shadow. Whether it was her emotional survival through Richard Pryor's chaotic world or the spiritual dissonance with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, every chapter in her love life reinforced one thing. Pam Grier could be in love, but she would never be owned. Her allure lies not just in her beauty or fame, but in the sacred silence she has preserved. She let the world see her power on screen, but off-screen, she kept her most profound stories as sacred keepsakes. And maybe that's the real mystery of Pam Grier. We know enough to admire her, but never enough to define her. As the 1990s arrived, a different Pam Grier emerged, wiser, more introspective, and noticeably more private. After surviving a life-threatening battle with cancer, which she spoke of in her memoir, love took on a whole new meaning. During that vulnerable period, Grier briefly stepped away from the spotlight, and some insiders say it was during this time she quietly reconnected with a man from her past, a friend, not a celebrity, someone she had known before her fame exploded. They were said to be inseparable for nearly a year, attending art exhibits, hiking in the hills near her Colorado home, and spending time away from the cameras. But just as it seemed she might allow someone fully into her world, the relationship ended without explanation. Some believe Pam, having just reclaimed her health and peace, chose freedom over fear, afraid perhaps that deep love could again lead to deep loss. There were also whispers of a brief yet emotionally significant bond with a married author in the mid-2000s, someone she met during a literary event. It's said that they exchanged soulful letters for months, but never crossed boundaries, keeping the affair more emotional than physical. A romance of restraint, poetic, and painfully unfulfilled. This was the side of Pam Grier the public rarely saw, the woman who loved quietly, spiritually, and with a kind of poetic sadness, always choosing dignity over scandal. Now in her 70s, Pam Grier still carries the same presence that once made men fall to their knees. But today, she is no longer anyone's mystery. She's her own truth. Over the years, many have asked why a woman so stunning, so charismatic, never settled into a long-term public marriage or partnership. Her answer has always been clear. In essence, I never needed someone to complete me. I needed someone to understand me. That understanding rarely came easily. Hollywood, after all, has never been kind to women who speak their minds and refuse to shrink. In private, friends have described her as deeply romantic, sentimental, and someone who once kept a collection of handwritten letters from her former lovers wrapped in silk, stored in an old box beneath her bed. These weren't trophies. They were memories, lessons, reflections of the woman she once was and the woman she became. She has spoken about betrayal too, not just romantic, but emotional betrayals by men who saw her strength but couldn't handle it.